welcome to the next post, next vlog. This one's basically about motorhomes. The way I see the future of motorhomes, especially the big large diesels and even the petrols. There's going to be a big change coming, folks, with this EV revolution. Okay, let's get straight into this with a latte, of course. Busy day, you've got to have your lattes. Hey look, we are actually now on buymeacoffee.com. So www.buymeacoffee.com/KK and family if you need or want to support the channel and the work I do for EVs and the promotion of the electric vehicle world as we go forward. Great. The reason why I'm doing this video is purely because with EVs coming on board, the car industry itself is going to change dramatically over the next, well, it's already changing now. Okay, one of the best selling cars in Europe is the Model 3, for example, from Tesla. So we know it's all coming. Hyundai, Kia Group's got some great cars out now. Mercedes has jumped on the bandwagon. All of Mercedes factory from this year, 2022, going to be completely sustainable, renewable energy use, full solar, costing them billions to do, but they're going that route. So these are big majors now jumping on to the electric vehicle bandwagon, as we say, and this is all great news. So the motorhome industry, what happens with it as we transition and change into a more electrical, renewable, sustainable way of motoring? I've been a motorhome fan and an RV fan, as they call them in America. We've took that on board now as well. Everything's an RV, be it a van, be it a motorhome, be it a caravan. All of a sudden everything's an RV over here in the UK. But no, I've named them and called them RVs for, wow, nearly 40 years now because of my time spent in the US when I used to import them into the UK. So I'm going to say, when I say RV, I'm talking about everything in general, but this main post today in this video is going to be concerned about motorhomes because they're powered by fossil fuels. Whereas caravans, okay, you still need something to tow it, but it's not the same. Where do we go from here? Where do we take motorhomes with these big 6.5 turbo diesel engines, if it's American, and of course if it's European 2.8 diesels, which are showing their age now a bit. Very, very polluting things. Let's face a few facts here and let's get honest with each other before we go any further. The diesel engine has now been proven to be more dangerous to mankind and to the air quality around us in towns and cities than any other fuel source. So hopefully they'll be taking them back to commercial use only, and eventually all diesel cars will disappear off British roads and European roads, and hopefully the US will catch up eventually. But let's concentrate on the UK because that's where we're here today, and that's where this post is coming from. So in the UK, there's a very small percentage of people have motorhomes and vans. Vans are coming on board now, but again, the majority of these vans being converted into weekenders or day vans, as the Americans have called them for many years, are diesel. And not only are they diesel, but they are very old ex-commercial vehicles with 150, 160, 200,000 miles on them. So already very, very worn. So already getting to the point where they are worse on emissions now than they were when they were new. So because of this brings me to where is the boundary, where is the tipping point, okay, where we will be happy to buy an electric motorhome, all right, over a horrendous diesel motorhome. Now, this other point I'm going to make is if you have got 40, 50, 60, 80,000. In fact, I know there's one for sale in Loughborough now. Guy's got a massive, big, full size, looks like a 40-foot, it's at least a 36, Class A motorhome. This Class A motorhome he's got is out for sale for a while now. It's obviously, I believe it's a big pusher, a big diesel. He wants 80,000 for that. 80,000. It's about, I would guess, I'm not sure on the age, I think it's about a 2007, 2008. I may be wrong. Before I go any further, let's get back to why prices are high and false to begin with. Okay, I think we all know and realise that the RV sector has been heavily hit with the pandemic. Goes without saying. Prices are very, very false at the moment. They've gone through the roof, 25 to 30% higher than they should be. And I think we can all see that, because why are you paying 25,000 or 30,000 for a quite mundane diesel 2006, 2007 UK spec dash European motorhome? Zero slide outs, no roof air conditioning, no permanent bedroom. You know, you're making a bed up every night and spending 30,000 on that. Wow. And it's still a diesel, which again brings me back to this and why I do believe things are going to change. How long is it going to be, and I'll get back to the tipping point, how long is it going to be before we go whoosh, yes, okay, electric's here, motorhomes are going to go that route. So anything left this side, i.e. big fossil fuel, diesel and petrol motorhomes, are going to be, I won't say worthless, there will always be a tiny market for them, but they are going to devalue like no tomorrow. Seriously. The first time a manufacturer with a sub 60,000 motorhome that is fit for purpose, in other words, range to me is no big deal. I would like to think that I could get 150 mile per charge out of a motorhome. 150 mile, if you live in the Midlands, that takes you to Wales, that takes you to the East Coast and a bit more besides. You know, it takes you down to the other side of London. Takes you up to nearly Newcastle. You'll stop on the way, you'll charge on the way. Parks will have chargers fitted so that when you get to your destination, the destination charger will be a normal, you know, high quality, 150 kilowatt hour charge point for your motorhome. So don't, you know, dwell on, oh, it's not got the range and everything. We are in the UK, people. We don't live in the US. Hello, all my American subscribers and viewers, welcome. Happy 2022 to you. In the US, which obviously is a completely different scenario, massive distances, massive rigs. You tow something behind the rig as well normally, behind the RV, and it is a completely different world. Whereas our little island in the UK cannot cope with the bigger RVs, in my opinion. A lot of parks won't even let you on if you're above 28 foot long. So all these big units and diesel units are going to really devalue once the tipping point has been reached. Now, I believe I can't afford 60k for a brand new motorhome, but if you've got 70, 80 grand tucked away in a big American one now as a 36, 40 footer, be very, very wary, because I just cannot see these values lasting much longer. One, we're all going to be starting to fly out back to Florida, generally the US. I can't wait to get back. We're going to be going back to Italy, Spain, France, you know, for a sunshine 2-week holiday in a hotel. So RV prices, as soon as this horrible pandemic has gone, are going to, they're just going to plummet. So if you've got a loan out on these things, people, why? Again, it's a personal choice, but be ready to lose a lot of money. Let's have this right here. Your customer base is going to fall off the cliff. When people are transitioning over to electric, they're going to expect it in a motorhome. They're not going to expect to be paying nearly 40 pence a mile. A mile. And if you do the maths, people, if you're in an American motorhome, for example, doing 14, 15 to the gallon, and at £6.75 a gallon, as an example, a mile. How can anyone sustain that cost? You may as well just sell up and forget it and go back to a little tiny caravan behind an electric car. And that's something else I will come to as we go forward in this video. The motorhome network, like I said, most parks, if you're not boondocking, and if you don't know what the phrase boondocking means in the UK, this would be another common phrase that we are starting to pick up on now. The Americans have used it for many, many years. Boondocking is where you go into an empty field, you've got no electric, no hookup, no sewage. It's boondocking. It's going back to the basics in the wild. You use your onboard Jenny, you use solar, and you don't live off the grid. That's boondocking. Very, generalisation of boondocking. Now, imagine this £60,000 sub EV motorhome has hit. Okay, so straight away they get good orders, boom, 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 another company starts one, another manufacturer, so you'll end up having Peugeot, probably an American one, a Fiat based one, and they'll be all electric. the prices of these older big diesels, you know, like I've just said, are going to go boom. So your 60 grand that you've got invested, or 80 grand you've got invested in this big thing, this big smoking polluting diesel, is going to half, you know, within a year or 18 months in value. Nobody's going to want them anymore. In America at the moment, they're going through a big thing of downsizing. This is why they started this van life scenario before it hit the UK. Van life hit the US, I would say, pre-pandemic. Didn't happen because of the pandemic. They were all downsizing to smaller, very long wheelbase, high top vans, mainly Mercedes, Dodge, and Fords. But yeah, it started in America and it's now boomed across here in the UK. And again, people, I'll bring this one on. If you are now at this stage, which is very late to do, may I add, starting a van conversion, it's going to owe you 15 to 16,000 when it's done. Being a diesel, okay, is going to plummet yet again along with the motorhome scenario. Not so much because you'll get better fuel economy out of them than you do a big motorhome. But they also, being diesels, are going to collapse in value. So please, if you're thinking and contemplating doing one now, you left it too late. Then I think diesel's going to go up in price yet again. Our good old government will come up with some more emission standards that will put taxes on diesel just to get rid of them. Just to get rid of them. So things are changing, folks. So EV, RV, let's just hope these electric motorhomes come on board a lot quicker than I'm estimating, you know, 2 to 3 years time. And like I say, as I've been talking, I've been putting pictures up, if you've seen, these are the electric ones available now, but they are a lot more money than I'm quoting at, you know, 50k. But as batteries get better, as batteries get smaller and more lightweight, they'll have bigger battery packs. So this will mean that going forward, you might end up with a motorhome that will give you a 250-mile range. That, I think, is very feasible. So why you're going to need this big diesel or this big petrol thing, you know, doing 15, 20, even 25 to the gallon. Going back, like I said, I had some C-classes. I had maybe 3 C-class motorhomes in the past. Jamboree, I can remember one being. In fact, I'll pop some pictures up and get rid of this mush and you'll see them as I'm talking to you. I have actually shown them once before on my channel, but only fleetingly, and some of my very early stuff. The motorhomes I had, like I say, were all petrol. I like that silence of the petrol. I like the smoothness of the petrol. And yes, sometimes when they were fully loaded, going up a real steep hill, they kind of did struggle a bit, and because 2 of them had LPG, liquid propane gas, which, to be honest, was a saviour even back in the day when fuel was a lot cheaper. How you people now go on paying $1.50 to $1.55 a litre for diesel and petrol and getting this ridiculous 15 to 20 to the gallon, that's another thing. Just so you do realise that me and my family, a good 30 years ago, did a road trip in a very large, brand new Class A American motorhome. It wasn't a diesel, it was a very large engine, big block petrol. And we flew into Miami, picked it up in Orlando, and then had to have a night in a hotel before they'd allow us to take that thing away. We stayed in a lot of campgrounds of America, KOAs. Don't think we ever boondocked to a point. We always had electric hookup and whatever. But that was a stunning 2-week, 2,600 mile trip that took us to New Orleans and back again. First time I went to New Orleans, and very, very enjoyable. So if you do ever want a road trip before this big EV, RV transition, get your bums across to the US and go and do it in a big, top of the range Class A motorhome. It is a different world, and while fuel is cheap across there, now's the time to do it, because fuel is still in certain states below $3 a gallon. That's a US gallon, slightly smaller than that, but it's $3 a gallon. I think diesel's heading towards the 4. It's a bit more pricey, but now's the time to go and do it. Put those thousands of miles on, go and enjoy your last fossil fuel big road trip. I'm going back hopefully end of this year, if not very early 2023. When we go back, it's going to be purely in an electric car or an electric minibus, Dodge, Caravan, whatever. It won't be in an RV, but I want to do it purely in electric cars. It'll be 2 cars taking maybe 6 of us, and we'll be doing at least 3,000 miles purely on electric only. So that's the way I'm looking at the future. So yes, enjoy your motorhome life now, and if you're going to do it, get over to the States, and it's a different world. Different world. But maybe that's the way forward. Maybe you need to change your outlook and forget motorhoming and go for a small compact caravan, RV. Maybe that's the way forward, because that will allow you then to have an electric car to tow it. Now, I have just done a tow thing on electric cars, and before anyone says anything, you can tow with electric cars. Yes, they're a bit pricey for the ones that can tow, because they're all the newish style. Things are getting better, and in the next 3 years there'll be loads of them to choose from. But if you've got a compact RV stroke caravan now in England below, say, 750 kilos, which is a nice little small 2-berth or a mediocre 4-berth, you can tow with a lot of electric cars. In fact, some electric cars now will allow you to tow 1,500 kilos. Crazy, but again, they are pricey. But look at it this way: take your money out of that big RV or that European RV at 35-40k, invest a tiny bit more in the pot and go and get yourself a modern, up-to-date EV that can tow. If you did that, you'd be doing two things. One, you'd be going down the line of saving money, because they are going to be a lot cheaper to tow and run. Secondly, you're future-proof. Maybe thirdly even, you ain't going to lose a load of money, which I assure you now you are going to if you do not make the change. So that's one of my sayings there: make the change. You know, electric first, dyno fuel second. There it is, my badge of honour. So just use your noddle here, folks. You cannot carry on having the same leisure lifestyle that we've been used to for many years. It has to change, and it will change. And if you don't want the change and you say you won't do it, but then I believe legally you'll be enforced to do it through emissions. But I'm not anti-motorhome, I'm not anti-RV. It's just that I do believe changes will take place quite rapidly in this very changing sector of transportation. RV, EV, EV, RV. You pick. I know which way I'm going to go down the road on. And if I could afford an electric motorhome over a diesel or a petrol, I'd buy one tomorrow. I'll look out for more subscribers. You look out for more posts. We'll take it from there.